Hi there guys, your favorite YouTuber again, Dami Solari, and you're watching DS Learning Finance. Whoa! If you haven't seen last week's video, I suggest you guys pause this one and watch last week's video, why you need a credit card, because this is part 2 of it. Now I'm not going to continue, and I'm going to wait for you guys to actually watch it, so I'm going to give you 15 minutes. Hey, 15 minutes is over. This is part 2 of why you need a credit card. And I got all the juicy information for you guys. When you have a credit card, there are 4 terms that you need to know about. Well, 3 to 4 I would say. The first term is the payment due date. This is the date in which you have to pay back the minimum amount that lender requires for you to pay back. My credit cards with Nationwide, so for me, the minimum fee I have to pay back is £2.50. I may owe £117, but they're happy with me paying back just £2.50 every month. Obviously, make sure that you guys pay back the full amount. Pay back what you owe in total. Do not just pay back the minimum amount, because yes, you may have a grace period. That means you don't have to pay interest on top of it, so you can delay your total payments as much as possible. But once that grace period is over, then you will be charged, so you will be paying interest on top of the money that you owe. So you want to make sure you pay back all your money that's owed, and pay that back to the lender in full, on time, on or before the payment due date. Now it's important that you guys realize these dates. This date will be a set date every month. Yes, that is true. For me, it's the 11th of every month, so I have to pay the money I owe my credit card in full every month before or on the 11th, but I never leave it to 11th, because the 11th can be a bank holiday Monday when banks are closed. The 11th can be on a Sunday, which banks definitely don't open. So you don't want to give yourself that sort of uncertainty. You want to give yourself a few days in advance and make the payment there, so it definitely goes through before the 11th for me, or before the payment due date for you. When people just make the minimum payment, i.e. the £2.50 for me, repeatedly month after month, that's how you can really get in some serious debt, because people just keep thinking, okay, I can make this £2.50 a month, that's not hurting me, but really and truly they still got £114.50 left to pay like every month, and it's totaling up. So you want to always make sure you pay back the money you owe in full and on time. Now I actually talked about the second term, which is grace period. This is a period in which you can just make the minimum payments without actually having to pay interest on top. A lot of credit card companies use this as a sort of advertisement tool. Don't be fooled. Just because you have a grace period of a year doesn't mean, okay, I can get away with just paying £2.50 or whatever your minimum fee is. It doesn't mean you can get away with that. It just means you're storing that debt until the end of the year, where you definitely have to pay it back. And you don't just have to pay it back that amount, you have to pay it back that amount plus their interest on top. So in a nutshell, yes, you do want a long grace period, but at the end of the day you're not going to be relying on it anyway, because you're still going to be making your payments in full every month. Otherwise that road is pretty bad for you down there. Grace period can fluctuate from several months to years, to a year long, so the longer the better, but like I said, you're not relying on that, you're relying on making payments on time every month. So my third term, which I was considering calling fourth, but now I'll keep it as third, is the closing statement date / the opening statement date. So these intercede with one another. Your closing date would be the same opening date for another new statement, now for another new month. So what your closing and opening date do is that they establish like sort of time frames under which you can be charged for in your next billing date. Now your closing date and your opening statement dates, these can vary from month to month. Your billing date is what stays the same. Your payment due date / billing date is what stays the same. You've got to be careful when you use your credit card, especially when it's crossing over between that closing statement date and the payment due date. For example, if you wanted to buy £100 worth of shopping, buy some shopping, and your closing date is on the 5th of October, and you want to buy it on the 4th, I would pretty much say hold out, wait for the 5th to come, because then you're into the new month and you don't have to pay that £100 the following day instead. So that's how you've got to sort of be wary of where your closing date falls with your payment due date. So if you're looking to spend just before your closing date, I would say always hold out for a few days so that you go past that closing date and you're into the next month's billing period. Yeah, that's a little tip. There's so many different types of credit cards: MasterCards, Visa cards, American Express, so many, but those three that I've mentioned are the most renowned. I would say you want to aim for a Visa credit card because most places accept Visa. The others are less popular, so you don't want to have a credit card and not really be able to use it everywhere. Also, I touched about this in the previous video, why you need a credit card. Basically rewards. Credit cards offer you lots of rewards. My Nationwide card actually gives me cash back. Yes, it's not the best rate ever, but it's still cash back nonetheless. It's still free. With some credit cards you can get free air mileage, so you can take a trip abroad if you wanted to, if you racked up that many bonus points. You can also get free shopping, stuff like that, free, just basically freebies. So that's another big perk with credit cards. But at the same time, you've got to watch out for those sort of cards, because the ones that seem really good, they tend to have a really big annual fee, and you've got to pay like £180 just to get those bonuses. And then it just makes you think, like, should I have just spent that £180 initially, because I probably could have paid for those bonuses anyway? And is that freebie actually free then, if I've actually spent like £300 paying for this card in the first place? Is it free? Now I've got 2 warnings for you guys. Warning. One, whenever you're applying for anything where you're borrowing money, whether it's indirectly or directly. By indirectly, a good example is a car on finance. You're technically borrowing that initial money to buy that car, but you're just not paying for it straight away. It's a loan period. So that is a good example of indirect borrowing of money. A direct borrowing is credit card. So you borrow the money for a month and you pay it back on time, I hope. But yeah, whether it's indirect or direct, always make sure to ask the person before they do a check whether it is a soft check or a hard check. A soft check is very quickly done. It doesn't affect your credit rating, whereas a hard check is a thorough check. It's there to make sure, to basically assess how dependable you are. And the problem with hard checks is that they severely decrease your credit rating. So you can have a 900 out of 999 credit rating, and then after a hard check it could decrease it back down to 800. So you've got to be careful. You don't want to take too many hard hits from hard checks all at once, because it can severely decrease your credit rating. You're probably thinking, why is that? That's because if you're trying to apply for a car, and then you're trying to apply for a credit card, and then you're trying to apply for a mortgage, and then you're trying to apply for a loan, then the lenders are going to be like, hold up, like, why is this guy trying to apply to 4 different things at once? It looks a bit suspicious, doesn't it? So you don't want to apply to too many things all at once, especially if they're hard checks. If they're soft checks, apply to as many as you want, because it doesn't affect your rating. If it's a hard check, be very selective, and always make sure to ask them before they've done it. There's no point saying, oh, is this a hard check, if they've already affected your credit rating. Make sure you do it before they run it. And if you just don't know, then simply just ask it from the get-go, do you do hard checks on this application? And then they will 100% be honest with you. But yeah, make sure you ask that. A solution for it is simply time. Don't apply to too many things all at once. Apply to 1 or 2 things, maybe 2 things is the very maximum, I'd say, and give yourself like 3 to 4 months in between applying to something. So I've got a credit card now. I'm going to get a credit card definitely later on, another one, a different one later on this year. I got my first credit card in March, so I've given myself a lot of time. So I'm not trying to apply for everything all at once. I'm spreading it out evenly, and that's the important part. Number 2, credit card charging fees. Now, not everywhere allows you to use a credit card for free. Yes, your debit card is free usage. majority of the time, but with credit cards it's slightly different. Not everywhere uses credit cards for free, so whenever you're using a credit card, always ask them, do you charge for credit card usage? If yes, I suggest probably using a different type of payment. Don't use that card for that point, maybe use your debit card to pay. But yeah, always ask that, because if you put your PIN in and they charge you, they're not charging your credit card, they're not charging the lender, they're charging you directly, and it from your own pocket on top of what you owe the credit card company as well. So yeah, don't be one of them silly billies. Make sure to always know whether you're being charged for a credit card or not, and then make your own decision from there onwards. All in all, I've done the hard work for you guys, and these 3 things you need to make sure that you look for in a credit card: low interest rate, a long grace period, and that the credit card has payment, direct debit payment set up. Those 3 things. Why? Low interest rate, because say you do miss your payment due date, you won't be overcharged massively for that extra money that lender's going to charge you for. 1, your grace period, so that if you do make a mistake, even though you should be paying it on time all the time, if you do make a mistake, you are forgiven. You've got a long grace period, so you can learn from that mistake. And 3, payment direct debit, so that you never miss a payment. I agree with always paying in advance, but if you do forget, you've got that direct debit there as a safety precaution, and you know that direct debit will always take your money out on time and pay your credit card in full. Now it's important to notice that some credit card lenders are very smart, and they don't allow you to make direct debit payments, and it's because they want you to mess up, they want you to slip up, they want to overcharge you, so that it means more money for them. So yeah, those 3 things you need to make sure you look for. I've pretty much done the majority of research for you guys. When it comes to the main market banks, I would probably say Nationwide is up there. That's who I use. I actually went to pretty much everyone, and Nationwide seemed to do the best deals for me, people in my category. But like I always say, do your research. Don't blindly follow me. Do your research, and hopefully we both come to the same conclusion. And that's the end of my video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you loved it, and I hope you're craving for more. Why? Because there's more coming. I hope you guys now see the importance of credit card, and for those that do already have one, then I hope this just sort of sets everything in stone for you, and motivates everyone to basically get more clued up when it comes to financial education and improve your credit rating, guys. It's so important. It's so important. It's very good for it's so important for like lifelong decisions, life making decisions. So to put your best foot forward, you always want to have a good credit rating. And yes, there are other methods, but in these past 2 videos, I'm just talking about credit card strictly. Credit card is one of the best methods to do that for you. Yeah, with that said, you guys know I'm going to be back next week with another one, because I'm Mr. Consistent. But before you can leave, before you can go about doing whatever you're going to be doing for the rest of the day, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. LSS DS Learning Finance. Whoa. Bye.